All right, buckle up, everyone, because today's deep dive is going to be a wild ride. We're heading straight into the world of Shakespeare, but this isn't some lighthearted comedy, oh no. This is Coriolanus we're talking about.
And believe me, it's a play that packs a punch, even centuries later.
You got that right. Now, our listener this week, they came to us with a whole stack of articles and notes on Coriolanus. They said they wanted to really dig deep, get past the surface level.
And that's exactly what we're here to do. Because Coriolanus isn't just some dusty old play. It's a story that speaks to the core of what it means to be human, to grapple with power, ambition, betrayal.
Big themes. So where do we even begin with a play this complex?
Well, the best place to start is always at the beginning, right? Act on, scene I. Shakespeare throws us right into the heart of ancient Rome, a city still reeling from revolution.
And not just any revolution. They just kicked out their king and were trying this whole republic thing out for the first time. Talk about a time of upheaval.
Absolutely. And you know what happens during times of upheaval? Uncertainty, fear, and in the case of ancient Rome, a massive grain shortage.
Oh yeah, let's not forget about the starving masses. Because that's who we meet right off the bat. Ordinary Romans. Hungry, angry, and ready to riot.
And who do they direct their anger at? The Roman elites, specifically, a proud patrician general named Caius Marcius, the man who will eventually become Coriolanus.
Ah, yes, our titular character. Though he's not exactly Mr. Popularity at this point in the play.
That's putting it mildly. Coriolanus, even before he earns that name, is a divisive figure. He's a brilliant military strategist, a fearless warrior, but he also has this deep disdain for the common people.
He pretty much sees them as dirt beneath his shoes, right?
Yeah.
Not exactly the best quality for someone who's supposed to be representing the people.
Not at all. And this fundamental tension between Coriolanus's exceptional abilities and his tragic flaw, his utter inability to connect with the common man, that's the engine that drives the entire play.
It's like watching a car crash in slow motion. You know it's not going to end well, but you can't look away.
A very apt analogy. And speaking of not looking away, let's talk about Menenius Agrippa for a moment. He's trying to play peacemaker amidst all this chaos, right? Tries to calm everyone down with that famous body politic analogy.
Oh yeah, that was in the notes our listener sent. Apparently Shakespeare didn't even come up with that himself. They said he borrowed it from William Camden's Remains.
Exactly. Camden used the analogy to explain how different parts of society work together, just like different parts of the body. It's a clever metaphor, but I'm not sure it's all that convincing to a mob of hangry Romans.
Especially not with Coriolanus lurking about. Because he has some pretty strong opinions about the whole plebeians are important too argument.
Let's just say Coriolanus is not exactly known for his diplomacy or his tact. He's about as subtle as a battering ram when it comes to dealing with people he considers beneath him.
So right from the get-go, we're presented with this fundamental question. Can a man who thrives on the battlefield, who commands respect through sheer force of will, survive in the messy, chaotic world of politics?
It's a question that has plagued leaders for centuries, and Coriolanus doesn't offer any easy answers. But before we delve into that, let's not forget, while Rome is busy tearing itself apart from the inside, there's a whole other threat looming on the horizon: the Volscians.
Ah, the enemy. Because every good Shakespearean tragedy needs a healthy dose of external conflict, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the Volscians, they're not exactly known for their peace treaties and olive branches.
Not quite. They're a constant threat to Roman stability, and it's on the battlefield against the Volscians that Caius Marcius truly makes a name for himself.
So we've got this powder keg of a situation, right? Rome's on edge, the people are starving, and this guy, Caius Marcius, is out there winning battles like it's nobody's business.
And this is where he earns the name Coriolanus, right? After he conquers the Volscian city of Corioli practically single-handedly, according to our listeners' notes.
Talk about a legend in the making. But even with all that glory, all that victory, things are about to take a turn for our dear Coriolanus, aren't they?
You know you're Shakespeare. Victory can be a fickle mistress, especially in the world of politics. And let's not forget, Coriolanus, despite his military prowess, is not exactly Mr. Congeniality. He's got a bit of a temper, and he doesn't exactly hide his disdain for, well, pretty much anyone who isn't part of the Roman elite.
Yeah, he's not exactly winning any popularity contests back in Rome. So what happens? Does he even want to be a politician? I mean, the guy seems much more comfortable on the battlefield.
Well, that's where his ambitious mother, Volumnia, enters the picture. She sees her son's triumphs as a golden opportunity, a chance to seize even more power.
Volumnia. Now, there's a force of nature if I've ever seen one. The listener included some great analysis of her character, comparing her to, like, the embodiment of Rome itself. Ambitious, powerful, and not afraid to get her hands dirty.
A very astute observation. Volumnia understands the levers of power, and she knows her son, despite his flaws, could be a formidable player in the Roman political arena.
So she pushes him to run for consul, right? The big leagues of Roman politics. But something tells me Coriolanus isn't exactly cut out for glad handing and baby kissing.
You could say that. His campaign strategy leaves a lot to be desired. Remember that temper we talked about? And his low opinion of the common folk? Yeah, those don't exactly stay hidden during his run for office.
So what happens? Give us the rundown. Does he manage to pull off a win despite himself, or does it all go up in flames?
Let's just say Coriolanus is not exactly known for his eloquent speeches or his ability to appeal to the masses. In fact, he makes a series of blunders, publicly insulting the plebeians, comparing them to crones pecking at eagles. Not exactly a winning campaign strategy.
Ouch. You'd think someone would give him a crash course in Roman PR, right?
Well, even if they tried, I'm not sure Coriolanus was ever one to take advice easily. He's very much a my way or the highway kind of leader.
And in this case, it seems like his stubbornness leads him straight to disaster. What happens? Does he get booed off the stage?
Pretty much. His rivals, the tribunes Sicinius and Brutus, seize upon his mistakes, using his own words against him to turn the people against him. Remember, this is ancient Rome. Public opinion can be a powerful weapon.
It's like the world's oldest political smear campaign. So, what's the verdict? Does Coriolanus get the boot?
He does. The tribunes manage to orchestrate his downfall, leading to his banishment from Rome.
Banished? Are you kidding me? After everything he's done for the city, they kick him out. I mean, I know he's not perfect, but talk about a slap in the face.
It's a brutal fall from grace for a man who dedicated his life to serving Rome. And it's this betrayal, this deep sense of injustice that fuels his next and perhaps most shocking move.
Okay, now you've got to tell me. What does Coriolanus do? Does he just ride off into the sunset and try to forget about the whole mess?
If only it were that simple. No, Coriolanus is not one to let go of a grudge easily.
This is the part where things get really interesting, right? What's our vengeful hero up to now?
Driven by rage and a thirst for revenge, Coriolanus does the unthinkable. He seeks out his sworn enemy, Tullus Aufidius, leader of the Volscians, the very people he'd been fighting his entire life.
Hold on. He joins forces with the enemy. That's like the ultimate betrayal. What's he thinking?
It's a decision that has puzzled and fascinated audiences for centuries. Is it pure vengeance that drives him? Or is it, as our listener suggested, a desperate search for belonging?
Because if Rome, the city he dedicated his life to, casts him out, where does he belong? Who is he without that identity?
Exactly. Shakespeare masterfully peels back the layers of Coriolanus' psyche, forcing us to confront the complexities of a man pushed to the brink.
So what happens next? Does he lead the Volscian army on a rampage through Rome, burning it to the ground?
It's a moment of incredible tension. Coriolanus, now allied with Aufidius, marches on Rome with the full might of the Volscian army.
Talk about an I told you so moment for all those who doubted him back in Rome. But I'm guessing this isn't just about settling old scores, is it?
No, it becomes something much bigger, much more profound. Because as Coriolanus stands on the precipice of destroying the very city he swore to protect, he's confronted with an impossible choice.
Okay, spill the tea. What's this impossible choice? Who or what stands between Coriolanus and the destruction of Rome?
It's not an army or a weapon that stands in his way, but something far more powerful, family.
So we left off with Coriolanus, our tragic hero, standing at a crossroads. On one hand, the city that betrayed him. On the other, the family he still holds dear. Talk about a rock and a hard place.
It's the ultimate test of loyalty, of where his true allegiance lies. And remember, this is a man who's lived his entire life by a strict code of honor, of duty. His decision will have far-reaching consequences, not just for himself, but for Rome and the Volscians alike.
So what tips the scales? What choice does he make in the face of such overwhelming pressure?
Well, it's his mother, Volumnia, who ultimately sways him. She delivers this heart-wrenching plea, reminding him of his duty not just to Rome, but to his family, to his legacy.
Oh, man. I can't imagine the emotional weight of that confrontation. A mother begging for the life of her city, her son torn between his love for her and his thirst for vengeance. Talk about high stakes.
It's a testament to Shakespeare's genius that he can create these moments of such raw human emotion within this larger-than-life political drama.
Absolutely. So does it work? Does Coriolanus listen to his mother? Does he spare Rome?
He does. In a moment that has echoed throughout history, Coriolanus chooses mercy over vengeance, family over conquest. He agrees to negotiate a peace treaty with Rome, effectively ending the war and saving the city from destruction.
Wow. What a twist. But there's got to be a catch, right? I mean, the Volscians were this close to conquering Rome. They can't just be happy about this sudden change of heart.
You're right. Coriolanus, by choosing Rome, by choosing his family, effectively signs his own death warrant. He's now branded a traitor by the Volscians, the very people he agreed to lead.
So he's caught between a rock and a hard place, just like we thought. But this time, it seems like there's no escape. What happens to him?
The play ends on a tragic note. Coriolanus, betrayed by those he once called allies, is assassinated by the Volscians. It's a brutal end for a man who lived and died by the sword.
It's almost Shakespearean, isn't it?
Yeah.
The hero, the conqueror, brought down not on the battlefield, but by the very people he trusted. It makes you wonder, was his fate sealed from the beginning?
That's the question that has haunted readers and audiences for centuries. Was Coriolanus destined to be a tragic hero, a victim of his own uncompromising nature? Or was it the society around him, the political machinations, that ultimately led to his downfall?
It's a lot to unpack, that's for sure. And it makes you think about the nature of power, of leadership. Can a society function without compromise, without understanding?
Exactly, and those are questions that are still relevant today, aren't they? We see these same struggles play out on the world stage in our own political systems. Coriolanus isn't just a historical drama, it's a mirror reflecting our own complex relationship with power, ambition, and the human cost of conflict.
Well said. To our listener out there, the one who wanted to go beyond the surface with Coriolanus, we hope this deep dive is giving you a lot to chew on. It's a play that stays with you long after the curtain falls, prompting us to examine our own beliefs about leadership, loyalty, and the often tragic choices we're forced to make in the face of impossible odds.
Thank you for joining us on this journey. Until next time, remember, the best stories are the ones that ask difficult questions, the ones that make us think and feel and maybe even see the world a little differently.